10K subscribers of mine, inviting them to the generative AI workshop. Just right now, a bunch of you guys are outskill learners. You have joined in to see this Claude workshop as well again, right? Let's say I want to invite you guys basically to this generative AI workshop. What would I do? Simple. I would go to something like Claude, right? Write a prompt like this, write an email to 10K subscribers, inviting them for my generative AI workshop. And you know what? Claude is actually quite smart, right? Claude is actually quite smart. It will understand what it is. It will understand what the email is. And in the end, eventually will be able to give out a very cool option. Here it comes. But you see what this is doing. Claude is doing something interesting. It says a few quick details is what I need, and it's asking me questions automatically. This is what I like about Claude. Even if I give a simple prompt, it is very smart to understand that it needs more context. And every time you get a pop-up like this, don't just click on the skip button. Actually try to answer these questions because it needs the clarification. It's trying to take context as quickly as possible. What's the workshop format? Live, online. Is it free or paid? It's free. Do you have date and time? No date, keep it vague. So I gave it some more context with a very simple prompt that Claude asked me for. Because Claude was like, there's no way I can write an email with such a simple prompt. So it asked me for some context. I gave it some context. Now it's thinking and it's going to put all this information together to give me out an email. And here it comes. There's curiosity driven, there is FOMO and urgency driven. I really like the UI of Claude as well, how beautifully they do it. And says, you're invited, free AI workshop. And here comes the whole email, right? I'm hosting a free live generative AI workshop. I want you in the room. No recordings, no replay, just me. This is everything that we'll cover. This isn't a sales pitch. It's a proper hands-on session, blah, blah, blah. Everything around it is right here. It's actually already a pretty good email because Claude was smart enough to understand context engineering is important. As a result, it ended up asking you follow-up question, just like a human, to get more context to be able to write this email. And it ended up writing two different kinds of emails. Now, this is something everybody would do any which ways. How are you going to be different? Well, you're going to be different because all of you guys today are going to learn a very simple context engineering framework. There are 5 layers of context, guys. And when you write a prompt, if you want it to be context engineered, if you want the prompt to be context engineered, then you need to think about answering these 5 questions in the prompt. 1, identity context. Who is the AI acting as? Or how do you want the AI to act as? That is identity context. 2, world context. What does AI need to know about your situation, business, or audience? What are all the information that you can give AI about your audience? 3, the task context. What exactly that needs to happen? What do you want AI to do for you? Is the task context. Next is an example context. In example context, there are 2 examples that I recommend you to give. 1, a good example and also a bad example, so that AI knows or Claude knows what is a good example and what is a bad example. As a result, it can optimize its outputs. And finally, a constraint context. What are the boundaries? What it should not do ever. When you put together identity, world, task, example, and constraint, you're giving enough context to AI to be able to give a great output. And I want you to take a screenshot of this. This in itself could be super useful. You see, every time, a lot of times we try to use AI and we are always like, dude, this AI doesn't get me. This AI doesn't understand me only. The reason why it happens is because we often don't give it good enough context. The moment you give this level of context in terms of identity, world, task, example, and constraint, it does a much better job. Now, for the same prompt, right? For the same task that we gave, write an email to 10K email subscribers, the newer prompt, which is context engineered, would look something like this. I will be like, first I will give the identity context. You're a casual, warm newsletter writer. Write like a smart friend, sharing an opportunity, not a marketer. Right? That is how I want my Claude to behave like. Then the world context. My 100K subscribers of Staying Ahead newsletter are Indian professionals who tried AI, but don't use AI at work consistently. They fear falling behind. This is what my world context is. This is how my users are. So I'm explaining that in a very simple language. I have 100K subscribers. The name of my newsletter is Staying Ahead. These are all Indian professionals and they've tried AI, but they've not been consistent with it. That is the context that I gave. Then I gave the task context. Invite them, which is the task. Invite them to the free live generative AI workshop this Saturday, 11 a.m. IST. Hook, save 2 hours daily using AI, not recorded. So urgency is real. Registration, and I could enter the link. I could just enter the link. Let's say outskill.com, right? I just enter the link. And finally, the example context. In the example context, you can see there are two parts to it. One is a good one, and the other one is a bad one. The good one is, the good example is, feels like a friend texting about something useful. I want it to feel like a friend is texting about something useful. Short paragraphs, one CTA, repeated twice, and that's pretty much it. The bad example is event poster energy. It should not feel like someone is reading an event poster. No bullet point agendas. No fancy words like unlock and freedom and transform and all those things. Keep it simple. If someone reads the email, it should feel like a friend has written them the email. So you can change it however you want. This is how I want my emails to be. So I'm giving it the context. And finally, constraint context. I say keep it under 200 words. Subject line should be under 10 words. No emojis, no bullet points, and keep it first person. So guys, there is no fixing of this. You can keep playing with it. In fact, I will share this prompt with you guys as well. You can keep updating it as well. But you get the idea. When you give this level of context, the kind of outputs that you get will be significantly better. Now, the moment I gave this context, you see it has started to do the work right now, right? And you will be able to see the email to be much, much better purely because of the amount of context we gave. And like I told you, we are going to be sharing all of this with you guys. And look at that. Free live workshop this Saturday, 2 hours back. I want you at this. That is how the email starts, like a friend. I want you at this. This Saturday, 11 a.m., I'm running a free live generative AI workshop. I'm going to show you how one thing, how to get 2 hours of your work back using AI tools you probably already have access to. No theory, no generic AI is a future talk, just a live session where I walk you through everything. Here's the thing, it's not recorded. I want people to actually show up, not people who register and forget. So Saturday works for you. This is the moment. Register here. See you there, WebHub. I wanted it to be simple, 200 works, like a text. That is my context, right? As a result, it gave me the exact email in a way that I want to. That, my friends, is the power of context. You see, the kind of outputs you get fundamentally changes. Are you able to understand? Are you able to remember? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart if you're able to remember or understand. Now, I'm going to show you a nice little hack right now. You know what I'm going to do? Let's say I want Claude to remember this. This is my style of writing emails. Every time I ask it to write an email, what do I do? I want you to focus on this. I want Claude to remember this is my style of writing. So I can say something like this to Claude. Hey, now that you understood how I write my emails based on the prompt that I gave, I want you to remember my email writing style and save that as my email writing skill. So the moment I tell my Claude, now that you understood how I write my emails, I want you to remember my email writing style and save that as my email writing skill. Now click on send. You know what that happens? Automatically, Claude will understand how I write my emails, break it down, and save it for future use. So that every time I say, write an email on this topic using my email writing skill, it will remember how I write my emails because it will remember this prompt. It will remind itself of this prompt and it will write an email exactly in this own style. Look at this, creating WebHub's writing skill. It's building a skill so that it can save it. So right now I'm giving my Claude a superpower. I'm giving my Claude an ability to remember things so that next time I write an email, it automatically writes like this. If you think that is insane, drop in a heart. You can see Claude has pretty much saved that as a skill. Now all I have to do is click on save skill right here, and that's it. That is it, guys. It now remembers how I write forever. And you know what I have to do? This time, let's say I'm writing a new email. I don't have to break my head. I can just say, write an email so that I can get a leave for the next 1 week. I want to tell my team that I'll be on break for the next 1 week because I'm traveling to US to meet the AI founders, and write this email by using my writing skill. That's all I say. I say write this email using my writing skill. I don't have to explain much. I just say write this email using my writing skill. And you can see this reading email writing skill. What is that? Because we just saved the skill, Claude is remembering how I write my email. By reading the email writing skill, it's reminding itself how I write, right? And it will adapt. Look at this. It will adapt the voice principles for an internal team leave notice. And look at that. It just came up with the email in the style that I want. Heading to US next week to meet a bunch of AI founders. Will be on the road the entire week. I'll be off the grid for most of it. For anything urgent, please coordinate with each other. If it's genuinely can't wait, ping me on WhatsApp. I'll check in when I can. Back and fully on this date. Nothing that needs my immediate action before I leave. Make sure you send that over my side. Guys, if you think this is insane, drop a boom in the chat. First, I taught you how to write a prompt using context engineering. And once we understood how to write a prompt using context engineering, we converted that into a skill for Claude so that it can remember forever how I want my emails to be written. Right? Awesome. So moving on, this is the 5 layers of context, and that is how you go about context engineering. We just try that out. Now, there's another thing that I want to quickly show you guys. You see, now we tried Claude only. Let's say you want AI to work for you and you want multiple AI models to give you answers so that you can compare. Before this, I used to do this a lot. I would go to ChatGPT, I would go to Gemini, I would here to go to Claude, I would give the same prompt and wait for it to give me an answer. One very interesting tool is called as Get Multi. Okay, that is what Get Multi is. What it does is actually quite cool. What it basically does is I can click on this compare model option and you can see this top models picked for you. I can just select this. You can see GPT-5 Chat, Claude 4, 2.5 Pro, DeepSeek R1. In fact, I can add more models also if I want to in the whole list of 500 plus AI models, right? And I can simply send the same prompt, click on the send button. And you know what? What it basically does at this point of time right now is look at this. It is able to get answers from 4 different AI models parallelly for me so that I can read answers from OpenAI models, Anthropic's models, Google's model, and DeepSeek model and pick up the one that I like. Guys, drop in a heart if you think this is super handy. Instead of me going to 4 different AI tools, or in fact more, I could just simply send one prompt and I'm able to get all my AIs parallelly to give me answers, and I can prefer and pick whatever I like. Guys, let me be very clear. Someone just asked me, will it work if I don't have a paid subscription? Good things in life cost you money. AI will be a force multiplier for a lot of people, right? Something like multi is an absolute force multiplier. But you know what? AI costs money to run. So these tools do cost you money. It depends on what you want to pick and what you want to use. For example, the Claude skill that we just showed you, while you can get a question and answer to come from AI, if you want the skills to work, you need a paid account of Claude. A lot of good things will need a paid account and they'll not work for free. You have to open your mindset. Of course, if you're a student or anyone else around it, I'm sure you'll find hacky ways to figure that out. But if you do a job that makes you money, if you have a problem spending 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 rupees on an AI tool that will allow to 10x yourself, my friends, you're not valuing your own time. That is what I would say. Because good things at life cost you money, so does AI. But you know what? I'm not going to stick to only free tools. I'm going to teach you the best tools because the best people use the best tools to get the best outcomes. That is the way, but that doesn't mean that if you're a student, you cannot use AI. Of course you can with a lot of free versions. You'll have the time to figure it out. I hope that's clear. Is that clear?